Big salute, big salute, big salute, big salute. Big salute to all my loved ones, support goons, support squad. Big salute to all my big angels out there. Big salute, angels. You know I love y'all. And big salute to all the righteous revolutionaries out there. Let's go, righteous revolutionaries. Let's go. And big salute to everybody that's tuning in, tapping in for the first time. Big salute to all my new subscribers, all the new people that's that came into the channel to see what Cuddy talking about. We be a little bit of everywhere, but for the most part, this is the channel where you come get you some power, come get you some knowledge, come get you some enlightenment. Um, this is the channel where we learn together. I don't know everything, I'm very knowledgeable, but as I'm learning, I want you to learn too. Let's learn together. Yeah, let's learn together. So today, I want to bring to you the brother of the richest man in the world who passed down his title as king to his brother, Mansa Musa. Let's talk about Mansa Musa's brother. I'm thinking that this is the dot that connects Africa to ancient Americas. Even though it was some Africans, the Olmecs that was trading with Latin America, helped them start their civilization before Abu Bakari. But he's the one that took them gold arrowheads that Indians had when the Spanish came and was going to trade with the Spanish and Christopher Columbus now. Yeah. The mass wealths of gold. Yeah, so let me introduce y'all to the big brother of Mansa Musa. From, I would say, if not the greatest empire coming out of Africa, because and we're gonna do some more on the father of these brothers, the Crusades. A lot of their soldiers were helping fight in the Crusades. When we talked about the Crusades yesterday, boy, Mali got some big history. Now I see why Mali is standing revolutionary strong. It's in their blood, it's in their DNA, it's in their genes. Big salute, Mali. Yeah. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it, y'all. Yeah, let's jump straight into it. Hey, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Like, if you like the information that we bringing, make sure you share if you feel any of this information can be useful or educational to anybody. And make sure you subscribe. Yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So without further ado, let's talk about the mooses. Yeah, let's talk about the mooses. Let's jump straight into it.
African
Oh, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer alert. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer alert. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Entertainment and educational purposes only. Let's go for the ancestors.
King Mansa Abu Bakr II discovered Americas in 1312, 180 years before Columbus. The Italian sailor slash explorer Christopher Columbus has a renowned reputation as a discoverer of the New World in every simple history lesson. This has been globally recognized for over 500 years to date. Education has been in the possession of Europeans, who many believe have imposed what has enriched them while scorning or changing what has not been done. As
Yep.
the waves of awareness begin to spread, several European expeditions have now seen their acclaimed achievements with doubt. One of those expeditions is the true ownership to the discovery of America. Two large journeys across the Atlantic Ocean preceding the Columbus, referencing the book written by the renowned Egyptian scholar Ibn Fadi al-Umari in 1342. One man, Abu Bakari, or to give him his full title, Mansa, which Mansa is king, Abu Bakari II pioneered both expeditions. The
Yep.
general conception was at the time of the Malian Empire that the end of the world was at the other end of the Atlantic. From the then primitive Europe, this delusion took hold. On the other side, Abu Bakari was far from convinced. The Atlantic Ocean must stop as the population lives along its banks if the Niger begins and stops. He also thought that this could be Mecca's sea route. Abu Bakari sent 200 ships out with the search for information burning in him. Their obligation was to sail across the Atlantic in order to find out what lay beyond. Just one of the ships returned. It was stated when he saw the other ships vanish into the wild seas, his captain claimed to have turned around. Abu Bakari wasn't convinced by the testimony of the captain. This further intensified his desire to find out what was lying on the other side of the ocean. In Abu Bakari's time, Mali was a center of excellence in the 13th century, while it reached its heights after its age when Timbuktu had the second oldest university at that time with more students than the University of New York. In Timbuktu, courses such as mathematics, geography, history, astronomy, chemistry, and Islamic studies had flourished. Mali was also a trading center and is that place to meet anyone who made the world spin. Abu Bakari designed ships off the coast of Senegambia with the assistance of shipbuilders from Egypt and Mali.
Senegambia, big salute, Gambia, big salute, bag family.
In number, his ships were 2,000. He was supposed to use it to explore the end of the ocean. Abu Bakari had been no coward. He requested that the ships be escorted across the ocean. In 1311, Abu Bakari abdicated his throne to Mansa Musa, not his son, especially in comparison to contemporary literature. Abu Bakari equipped the finest men, sorcerers, doctors, sailors, and navigators with 1,000 of his ships. Every ship was attached to a supply ship. The number of ships amounted to 2,000. In order to last his team for 2 years, the other 1,000 ships were filled with food, medicines, fruit, and drinks. Abu Bakari was thought to have arrived in the year 1312 at the other end of the Atlantic. As the Malians renamed places after themselves, evidence of the Malian expedition can be noted in the names given to places in Haiti.
Now, 1312, that's 2 centuries after the Crusades. So y'all keep up with your dates now so you can start connecting these dots. Because if we can connect these dates, a lot of these dates can help us connect the dots of history. Yeah.
Mandinga Port, Mandinga Bay, and Sierra de Mali are examples of this. A lot of other facts abounds and even more continue to unfold. There is also a folk tale from Mali that gives reference to this great exploration. How could this in Abu Bakari's time be possible? The Atlantic is controlled from a scientific point of view by two currents, which typically remain the same regardless of month or season. There are
And that's facts. The northern current will take you to America from Africa, and the southern current will bring you back from the Americas to Africa. So there's literally a river in the ocean where they just jump on the current and let the current take them to where they need to go. See, people that don't get on boats, a lot of people don't know about that. Those are just for the people that know a little something about boats. I don't know a lot about boats or navigation, but I know a little something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the people that's on YouTube, they will even tell you, when they put the sails up, that just help them move faster. Yeah, yeah. So they tell you it's routes, literally in the water. You can see the water moving, currents, flow, the flow of water currents. Yeah, yeah.
the Canary Current and the Guinea Current. They both have currents that are strong enough to drag a ship from the West African coast to the Americas. You see the signs of negroid presence in the Americas at the end of these currents. Therefore, Columbus would be accused of using similar knowledge of the currents of the Atlantic to sail across to the Americas. This could only have been possible with the assistance of someone who is familiar with the road. Therefore, it is more credible to speculate that Columbus was accompanied by an African, Pedro Alonso Nino, who helped him navigate the Atlantic. The fact that Columbus
Pedro Alonso Nino wouldn't know. Well, he may have been a Spanish African because, like we say, the Moors did make it all the way to Portugal, and that's where the battle commenced. Yeah, that's where the battle commenced.
reported seeing blacks in America must be made clear. He also documented seeing a mosque like building. The Malians were Muslims, and there's also a chance that the Malians may have erected the mosque. Columbus also reported seeing a ship loaded with goods just leaving the Guinean coast and headed toward America. In addition to the above, the words of Mansa Musa, the successor to the throne, are another evidence of this voyage. Upon his arrival in Egypt, it was clear that the Egyptians were awaiting the Hajj to see Abu Bakari. Mansa Musa was quoted while arriving in Egypt as describing how the throne of Mali ascended. Again, citing the manner in which King Abu Bakari gave up his throne to contribute to worldwide understanding, a trait lacking in the African rulers of today. Thus, the presence of the Malians on American soil may be the cause. To name a few, for the presence of African crops such as banana plants and mango, for all black educators, this incredible history of Abu Bakari's adventures should be great area of interest, particularly in rewriting world history that has concentrated on enforcing Eurocentric perspectives.
Yep.
Anything short of this will rob not only the black youth of true heritage, but the entire world.
Yep.
Prior to drawing the curtains, we must
Cause don't everybody know Mansa Musa? Well, not even everybody know Mansa Musa, but they don't know about his big brother. Yeah, they don't know about his big. People probably learned about Mansa Musa when it was his big brother that put him in place. Yeah, yeah,
add that this article is not intended to scorn Columbus. To date, Columbus ranks among the greatest explorers of all time. Christopher Columbus
man, come on, bro. Christopher Columbus ain't nobody. We been here. Christopher Columbus had just got here. Yeah, he was a yeah, he ride on the coattail. Yeah.
was fine, but King Abukari II was responsible for the discovery of Americas. So basically, that was a little bit of history, basically for the young ones and for everybody. Look, American history is nothing but European lies that is implanted in us as kids to keep us brainwashed and keep us controlled.
Yep.
They want us to be they want us to be basically controlled. They want us to basically be stupid and easily manipulated. And that's the problem with our children today. Is our children don't know about this stuff. They should, because now we have the internet, you can actually look it up. And like I said, I press kids. I know I sound like a broken record, but I press kids to go to HBCUs as well as go to libraries, go to other places where you can find information on your history. Me, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to find answers. And hey, we all don't know it. We all don't know everything. I still have to figure out my history. I'm still trying to figure out my history, who my original people.
Yep. So that was just an introduction to Abu Bakr II, Mansa Musa's older brother. Let's see, it's another one. Is it that one? Or was it this one?
Let's throw it back to the year 1310 of the Common Era, to the French colonized West African gold-rich country of Mali.
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Entertainment and educational purposes only. Let's go.
Which is bordered to the north by Algeria, to the east by Niger and Nigeria, to the south by Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, and to the west by Senegal and Mauritania. And many of us are familiar with Mali because of the Dogon people of its central plateau region, and because of
Dogon. Oh, I gotta come back and do one on the Dogon. Yeah, so y'all can know power is real. Oh, the power is real, baby. The power is real.
Of the ancient city of Timbuktu, which enjoyed a golden age as a major center for the trading of salt and gold and spices and dyes. And it was also a hub for Islamic scholars. And it was also the site of 3 mosques that loosely comprised a university system there that became a repository of great books and knowledge, Timbuktu. So we are in Mali, the year is 1310, and we will camp out, pitch a tent in the city of Niani, 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 which at that time was the home of the brother whose story I am telling.
And I believe that city is still here. Yeah, still here. I know this is here. Yeah. Oh man, look. We right here. Yeah, we right here.
You today. He was a Mansa, M-A-N-S-A, a Mansa, which means emperor. And the village of Niani is where the emperor and his courtiers made their home. And it was also the seat of trade and commerce. So this was their Washington, D.C. And one of the reasons why Europeans and Asians and other Africans traveled far and wide to get to Mali at that time was because of the abundance of gold under her earth in that country. Like much of the motherland, Mali was gold rich. And the profusion of this natural resource, gold, made Mali one of the richest countries in Africa and made our Mansa, our emperor, one of the wealthiest men in the world.
Facts. Look at that staff he got. Ooh, I can't wait to get my money right. I'm gonna get a gold and silver staff with gemstones and emeralds and rubies all in that bitch. Ooh, whoa.
At that time, those native to Mali are referred to as Malian, M-A-L-I-A-N. And we're talking about the Mandinka people, the Mandinka people. You may also hear them referred to as Mandingo, the Mandingo people of Mali. That's who we're talking about. So this brother, he was a Mandingo. And the Mandinka are one of the 4 largest ethnic groups in Africa today. The other 3 being the Fula or the Fulani, the Hossa, and the Songhai. The Songhai.
And all of them was under one umbrella at one time. Imagine that.
So this story is about a Mansa, an emperor, one of 2 sons born to the sister of the founding emperor of Mali. So this brother had royal blood, and he succeeded his nephew to the throne in 1310. So after his nephew's reign, this brother became Mansa, became emperor over the 12 kings of Mali. And at that time, the country of Mali
12 kings, 12 tribes.
Extended all the way to the sea. It is inland now, but at that time it extended all the way to the sea, to what we now call the Atlantic Ocean. So back in the day, Mali was a coastal country. Today it is not. And as a young boy, this brother began hearing stories about the extraordinary conquests of Alexander the Great and about the mysteries and the magnificence of the seemingly endless, unending ocean. at his country's edge. He was fascinated by tales of a powerful current in that ocean that was said to catch up all who entered and toss them out at the uttermost edges of the unknown world. And his youthful mind began to race in wonder about what strange and exotic lands might exist and what unfamiliar people might live there at the other end of all that vast water. And as this brother grew into manhood, diplomats and scholars from throughout North Africa began arriving at Timbuktu for study, bringing with them even more stories that the sea was not some treacherous passage that delivered travelers into a black hole on the other side of the world, but that the ocean was a gateway to thriving cultures and landscapes far beyond what anyone had ever known or imagined. And taking these new ideas from the scholars, tapping into ancestral spirits, the medicine men, and the feathered and masked court magicians, threw down the bones. Y'all know how they do. They threw down the bones, foretelling of fresh futures. And from this tapestry, our young brother
tap in with the ancestors, tap in with the spirits. Yeah, for the ancestors. Let's go. You heard it right here. Yeah.
Began fashioning a dream. So when this brother became emperor, he set his mind upon the one thing that had so captivated his childhood imagination, and his attention became fixed on a sole ambition to use all of his power and wealth and authority to realize his dream of conquering that ocean and seeing what was on the other side of all that water. The one thing that had always quickened his spirit, that he had always been passionate about, was making a transoceanic voyage. He longed to see what was on the other side of all that water at the edge of his country. And with all the instruments of power at his disposal, with the tremendous wealth of the Mali Empire at his command, this brother began surrounding himself with people of like mind. He availed himself of the scholars and scribes, teachers and traders, diplomats and merchants. He took in the new ideas of the day and began to marshal the resources at his disposal to begin the process of manifesting in real time that which was already very much alive in his imagination. And the emperor became so consumed with this one pursuit that over time he paid less and less attention to the responsibilities of actually governing the country he commanded. And as a result, affairs of state began to suffer. Nevertheless, he persisted. This brother kept it moving. He was determined to build a fleet that would conquer the high seas and reach whatever and whomever might be at the center and at the other end of the ocean. So the emperor sent out what we today would call an APB for all those who had knowledge of fishing the seas and lakes and rivers, for anyone who was experienced in boat building and ship construction, for men who had intellect and expertise in water currents and winds and direction finding by maps and stars. Whatever you could bring to the table that was useful to the emperor's cause was welcome, and you were summoned to his court for that purpose.
Yeah, pull up. He got a job for you. Yeah, any paying. Yeah, got a job, any paying. Yeah. Before you leave, just pull up.
So as a result of this countrywide call to action, the emperor's court was abuzz with talk of the sovereign's grandiose plans, and boatmen from throughout the kingdom submitted blueprints for the construction of ships with all sorts of shapes, sizes, and capabilities, arguing amongst themselves before the emperor for the superiority of this design over that one, and putting his trust and faith in no one man's idea to fulfill his dream of crossing that ocean. The emperor commissioned ships of many designs, believing that a variety of watercraft, this is
everybody said, anything that sounds good and sturdy, build it. Let's get it built. Yeah, I like how that one sound. Build that. Oh, I like how that one sound. Yeah, go ahead and build that one. Yeah, smart, brother. Smart. Variety. Yeah, variety.
wisdom that a variety of watercraft would ultimately prevail in nautical conditions that were foreign to all of them. Sail ships were built. Ships for oarsmen were built. Ships that could accommodate both wind and muscle power were built. Supply ships were built. Boats to store gold and other trading items were built. The emperor mandated that the fleet carry enough food provision for 2 years. 2 years worth of provisions. So boats were built to house dried meat and grain and preserved fruit in huge ceramic jars. Great trees were felled in forests throughout the empire and floated downriver to a massive seaside site of boat building operations. Blacksmiths and carpenters, magicians and diviners, intellectuals and merchants, potters and servants, and artisans of all types gathered each day at that site to work, to help, to witness this grand project take shape. Now, at the time that this massive fleet was being constructed at that site by the ocean, the emperor also had several megalithic structures built, and they were used to observe very long distances out into the ocean and to track the movements of the stars in order to test various astronomical calculations. And the ruins of those very great structures are still visible to this day in Mali. And as the fleet neared final completion, our emperor left his palace at Niani and encamped on the seacoast to watch the final stages of this vast labor force complete the work that was his dream. And when it was all said and done, all in all, 200 master boats and 200 supply boats were built and completed at that massive site by the ocean. And there came a day when the fleet...
Smart. So every boat had their own supply boat. Damn, that's smart. That's smart.
400 boats strong, was ready to set sail upon the Atlantic Ocean. And the emperor issued this order: do not return until you have reached the end of the ocean or when you have exhausted your food and water. Do not return until you have reached the end of the ocean or when you have exhausted your food and water. And the fleet left the shores that day, and a great many days followed, and no one came back. And the emperor could find no peace. And then one day, back in Niani, at the emperor's court, there was a ruckus in the crowd, a stirring of people, some unexplained commotion amongst the courtiers. People were murmuring and whispering, and word made it back to the emperor that a captain of one of the ships was waiting outside the gates to have an audience with our brother. And so the emperor commanded that the man be brought forward immediately. Get him in here now. And he was brought in immediately. And there came before him slowly a man in worn and weathered clothing, tattered really. And as he approached, the emperor suddenly rose from the throne and in one overexcited hop descended the steps to meet the ship captain on the floor of the court. Sultan.
Look, he jumped down all the steps. What's the word? What happened? Where everybody at? What you find?
We sailed for a long time until we came to what seemed to be a river with a strong current flowing in the open sea. And my ship was last, and the others sailed on. But as they came to that place, they were pulled out to the sea and disappeared. This is the story the captain began telling the emperor. And the emperor said, "So all is lost?" And the captain said, "I do not know, sire. I do not know what became of them. The waters there were strong and swift, and I was afraid, and I turned where I was, and I did not enter that current." And the emperor stared ahead into space, transfixed. He said nothing. And the emperor turned away from the captain, and step by step by step, he began ascending the staircase to his throne. And he sat down, and the emperor raised his arms and clapped his hands, dismissing the court. And it wasn't long after that the emperor left his palace again and with his court returned to the massive building site where the missing fleet had first been outfitted. He went back to the very shores from which the 400 boats had set out for the unknown world. And our brother was convinced that that world existed out there somewhere. The emperor went back to that same spot. He would not be defeated. And from that seaside encampment adjacent to the massive building site, our brother commissioned a second expedition, more extraordinary than the first, once again calling for all the countries' expendable resources to be committed to building an even bigger fleet than before. And skeptics were everywhere Naysayers lined the streets, and fears were heightened that the emperor had gone completely mad, that he would yet again sacrifice hundreds, thousands of his subjects to the devils of the Dark Sea. Nevertheless, the emperor persisted. The brother persisted. He never looked back. He never returned to his palace and to his court in the city of Niani. The emperor decreed that the second fleet would be especially outfitted for a specific boat, the flagship, that would have as its centerpiece a throne for the emperor himself. He would command the new expedition, just like Alexander the Great before him. He would lead the adventure to discover new worlds. He would be a full participant in his own dream. So,
well, if that ain't some motivation for you, if that ain't some power for you, I don't know what to call it. So big salute to the ancestors, man. Big salute to Molly. Um, that was just a video. Some enlightenment for the day. Yeah, some enlightenment for the day. You know, so I hope y'all learned something. If you learned something and you like this story, hit that like button. If you feel this information can be useful or motivate others, please share. And automatically hit that subscribe button. You get that subscribe button, come back later on, catch the rest of the video. Go do your own research. Come back, leave me a comment like, oh, Cuddy, I found this. Oh, Cuddy, I found that. Oh, Cuddy, the Mali Empire linked to this. Oh, these folk linked to that. So, hopefully I have enlightened some brothers today. So all my brothers in America talking about, oh, the Indians and all that. Yeah, the Indians was black. Yeah. We was the first ones to find America. Yeah. Connect them dots, baby. Connect them dots. We gave the Aztecs. We gave the Maya. We gave the Inca. We gave all of them folk civilization. So, matter of fact, hold on. Damn, my bad, y'all. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this other one real quick. Yeah. Yeah, let me show you what the Latin people say about Olmec heads. Where that video at? Yeah, here you go.
Included part of Colorado.
Disclaimer alert. This is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Entertainment and educational purposes only. Yeah, and now this is a good read right here. This is a good read that came before Columbus.
Other projects like in Mexico. This is the best example of the satellite collection in the ceremony center. That's why they usually fossil racing circus in Mexico in the ancient times. Typical separate construction. Most of the buildings that we can see. Look at these two ones over here. At the beginning of this museum, I was made
information about from the picture where they got at the face. Then when we was passing in the other house, you saw those pictures when they found the faces. This is one of the face more beautiful. You can see the lips, the nose, the eyes. This is completely negroid face and the weight of
That's African. Well, that's us. Salute to the ancestors. Salute to the ancestors.
this face is 25 tons.
They left evidence for us all over. There's evidence for us because they knew there was going to be lies being told by them other people. So they had to leave evidence for us.
We're wondering how they carry in that time from where they carry these rocks because it's solid. This head they bring from 134 kilometers far from here. Yes.
So it hasn't been moved since, huh?
No.
Was that stone quarried where they found it? Or how far did they have to bring the quarry stone?
They say from 100 kilometers far. They call basalt. Basalt. It is one solid piece from 25 tons.
What is the relationship between this head and the African presence in the New World?
Well, they showing it to you the exactly origin, negroid, basic origin for these peoples.
Why do you think they would carve a Negroid head? What would be the significance of that?
To showing when these people was arrived to this continent. They tried to demonstrate when they arrived to America, and that was before Christ. About 1200 years BC was the time when they made these faces.
Were these heads looked at as
Did y'all hear that? 400 BC. So we've been back and forth. We've been here. They just got here. They just got here. We've been here. Sorry about that.
gods, as priests?
Priest,
They were priests.
priest.
So then the African present here was one of priesthood or what?
Priest.
It was one of priesthood.
Yeah.
Royal priesthood. Let's get that right. The royal priesthood. Not just priest. Not like the Pope. No, hell no. Not like the Pope. These are royal priesthoods. Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Are there any other heads this size for the other races of people?
No, this is the most principal.
Nope. You heard what he said. Nope. This the most principal. Ah.
Dr. Van Sertiman, can you make a comment on this? I was asking him the significance of this in terms of the importance in the society of these heads, and he was saying that these were represented priests.
Yes, this is the priest king class because it would appear that these people were among the ruling elite of the Olmec.
Hear what the brother said. Priest king. Priest king. Now we come from royal priesthood, not just some people at the church. Yeah, we come from royalty.
And these heads were revered. In fact, on one of them, you have a flat top and you have an altar where people worship. And there is another one in which you have a sort of eustachian tube that runs from the ear through the mouth so that the priest could stand at the back of the head and talk to the people. It was a kind of oracular thing, you know, a sort of oracle. This is one of the great heads. And one of the things that you should note too, which many people do not note, is the way that thing falls along the ear. And also note in not the markings, the way it is cut, the way it is eroded on top, because the top of the helmet is also very important to note. The things right on the brow, the way these are formed, because this is the way in which even on top, I don't know how we can get on top there, but there's something quite interesting on the very top of the head. There are certain striations on the top of the head that are also significant. Pay close attention to everything that is said tonight, and that you should prepare yourself to ask questions about the many troubling problems that beset prehistoric America. It is not really prehistoric, it is merely pre-Spanish, but anything that is pre-European is considered to be prehistoric. It is the really critical missing pages of history, both for America and for Africa. And what I want to do tonight, apart from touching on what we have seen within the last day or two at Mitla and at Monte Alban, what I would like to do is to go on to make a summary of what we have achieved, what we have seen, what we have witnessed in the last week in Mexico. We began in Von Wuteno's studio. Make no mistake, there is no studio in the world where you will find such a collection of African physical types in ancient America. Many of you have not had the opportunity to examine closely at leisure all the pieces in that collection. It is a priceless collection, and many of you have raised the question which must be pursued: what will happen when Von Wuteno, who is now 84, dies? What will happen to a collection which is of tremendous significance for us, blacks throughout the third world? Because the likelihood is, as has happened in previous centuries, the likelihood is that all of these marvelous pieces which we have seen, in which we have not...
Now this all the stuff they found in Mexico now. Now look at that head back there. Ooh.
yet had time to photograph completely and to preserve may disappear. Von Wuteno has, in addition to these little sculptures, he has a catalog of everything he has. Brilliant photographs taken by several professionals over the years.
He is apparently the director of the dancing group. And this is a man, and his features are Totonac. They're not Negroid, but they paint them with capote, so it is a warrior who is black. That is also an atavismo because they knew that the Olmecs were black.
You're saying that the Olmec people themselves were black?
No. No, but this one certainly was black. You see, you can't see it. And here is the proof for it. It's one of the best proofs I have. This is a figure made that is between the Olmecan period and the Totonacan period, transition period. And this is an Olmec sculpture. And to be black, they covered it with tar. You see, it's a stone head, but it's covered with this tar. So not only the features and the thick lips come out primitive, but it is made black. This piece was put on the cover of Revista in Mexico in March, and shows you that another colossal Olmec head was found in Mexico, which has not been, in my opinion, I don't know where it is. It's never exhibited. I wonder if they really have excavated it. Of course, you see these, there is the item that the people in Tabasco, that Tabasco is one of the provinces here. I mean, one of the states, the state, just as Louisiana is a state. And the people in Tabasco don't want it to disappear from their place to Mexico City. And there are frictions between the Instituto de Antropología and the state, you see. And that's why I don't know if they've done in the state something about it. In any case, it has not been shown up here in Mexico City. But it is 100% Negroid features, and I wish we could get it out and get some.
The choice of archaeological sites to link all that we have seen together as a single piece. This is one of the most difficult things to do in Mexico. There's a vast amount of confusion, even among the guides who are supposed to have mastered the material in their own area. There's a vast amount of confusion about dates.
Yeah. Let's listen to him.
About the occupation of sites, about the nature of influences, about what the various things we have seen mean. Some of these things cannot yet be explained. Some of these things people can only guess at. But what we are certain of, what we are absolutely certain of, is that the Olmec civilization, which is the mother of all American civilizations, is not a single-stranded civilization. It does not belong to one race. It does not belong to what we conceive of as the Native American who came across the Bering Straits. There obviously were other influences, and among those influences was the African, specifically the Egypto-Nubian of the Mediterranean. When we look in Von Wuteno's studio, we see quite a number of heads, most of them pre-classic. By pre-classic is meant periods between, say, about 1000 BC going right down to about 600 BC. This is a significant phase in Olmec civilization. There are several phases of the Olmec. I must deal with phases now, and those of you who are taking notes, please note, because you can get very confused when you see the Olmec appearing in other places in later centuries and becoming mixed up with other peoples. This is some of the things that lead to confusion. We must understand that in the capitals of the Olmec world, in the Olmec morning or the morning of that Olmec world, you have people coming into the site, occupying these sites as early as 1200 BC at La Venta, the holy capital, as early as 1500 BC at San Lorenzo. Those dates have nothing to do with the actual sculptures, the actual monuments, etc. People walk into a site and start to occupy it because they find there is land there, they can plow the fields, they can grow crops, they can eat, etc. They don't just walk in today and tomorrow they start building colossal sculptures and massive ceremonial platforms and pyramids, etc. So when people come into a site, has nothing to do with when the flowering, the high point, the climax of the civilization occurs. The Olmecs came into their sites pretty early, as early as 1500 BC at San Lorenzo, as early as 1200 BC at La Venta. You must look carefully at this map and see the diamond points. Those are the capitals. And those diamond points show you where the Olmecs first made their major settlements. Now it is as early as 1858 that Mexicans became aware of these sites. Remember that just like in Egypt,
and we're gonna leave it right there, y'all. I want y'all to go do y'all research. And I don't want to be using all that content. I just want to enlighten y'all, give y'all something to go look forward to. Dig in your rabbit hole. So make sure you go dig in your rabbit hole. You come back, leave me a comment. Yeah, leave me a comment. Leave me your reaction. Let me know your thoughts. Salute y'all. So all praises up to the God of our ancestors, who I call Allah. Blessings to everybody. I love y'all, man. Stay tuned.